These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Sunday, January 22nd, the day after the Celtics took down the Toronto Raptors, and a couple days after they took down the Golden State Warriors. A lot of good Celtics basketball being played, so I'm very excited to talk about it. How are you doing today, Sam?
I'm pretty good. You see, we
Good,
got the little flag here. A lot of
Yes.
housekeeping has been done.
Yes,
Things have been moved around that you can't see, but now I have my light on something that isn't a box, which is really nice.
Very good.
I've got my writing set up over here to my left, your right if you're watching. But I'll tell you what, Friday night, I went out with some friends briefly because I was hungry and somebody else wanted to get cookies. Now, I don't know if you have this around you in Bristol County, but we have Thayer Street in Providence. So Thayer Street is like a main street, lots of restaurants. It's near Brown.
Okay.
Bunch of different places. There's like a Chipotle. There's Baja's, which is similar to Chipotle. There's an Insomnia Cookies on there. Now, I don't know if you've ever had Insomnia Cookies, but it's one of those premium gourmet warm cookie places, but it's not very big on the inside, right?
I think I've been there once, but okay.
So this is about 11 o'clock on the Friday. We had been hanging out and we decided we wanted to go, so we go, and we get there and it's pretty busy, right? A lot of college kids on the inside, which is fine. Here's where the problem is. Now it's me and two other people. One of the guys is the one that wants the cookies.
Okay.
He and me and the other guy were all standing outside of the door, which is closed.
Sure.
Okay?
Yes.
On some steps. The one guy decides he wants to open the door, but not go in, just stand in the doorway.
One of your friends?
One of my friends.
Okay.
The one that wants the cookies. He has decided he's going to open the door and stand there and let the cold air into the cookie place while these other kids are waiting.
It's a rat move.
Very rat move. So I call him out for it. The kid starts laughing. Not my friend, like the kid inside. Because he agrees with me. I'm like, what are you doing? You're like, what is it? Like, you have to be cold, so everybody else has to be cold. Shut the door. So me and the other guy that was not getting a cookie, we went and I got my food and we left him there. I said, I'm not standing with you. I was breaking his balls. I said, I'm not going to stand with you as you do this. And then he shuts the door.
What food did you get? What food did you get?
I just got a burrito. I was hungry.
Chipotle?
Baja's, which is
the same local place. I understand. Okay.
Somewhat local.
We have
quite a few of them.
Okay. Well, I've never heard of it, so I assumed. But we have something similar. I mean, probably not as like, I don't know what this is. Like there's this like road in Stoughton that has a bunch of restaurants on it. It's not like a specific restaurant plate. It's like on the freeway kind of thing. Like not like a big highway, but it's like one of those big.
No. This is like you walk around.
Lane. Yeah, no,
you'll have to see it sometime
like that. Yeah.
If you're from Rhode Island, you know Thayer Street, comment and tell us.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that. There's something like that in Ithaca, where my girlfriend's from. They have like the it's not called Main Street, the Commons, Ithaca Commons or something. There's like restaurants on it, there's apartments, stuff like that. So
probably something like that. Before we go any further,
yes,
big news since the last time we recorded, we have gotten the SeatGeek code changed. So if you're going to a Celtics game or another event, we'd like to help you out. You use code HBTC, short for How About Them Celtics, to save $20 when you check out on your first purchase. Go with our help. We want you to go. Have fun. Make sure you use SeatGeek. Use the code HBTC. We'll help you go see what you want to see. HBTC.
Hell yeah.
Want to get in at the beginning? That way we don't miss you. We did at the end. We snuck it in at the beginning, but it wasn't live, just in case you couldn't catch it.
Mm-hmm. For those who listen, the edit was not clean. I found a place and we put it in. So I hope you guys
I was enjoying a nice story when I listened to it. I was like, oh boy.
Hey, you're the one who told me to put it in the beginning.
We got to get it in the beginning.
We do. I don't have any cool stories like that, but I did wake up this morning. Missed my Brentford game. For those who don't know, I am a Brentford fan, Premier League team. Same as a Liverpool's fan. I almost said Arsenal because my other friend's an Arsenal fan. I woke up one morning last summer, I think it was 2 summers ago, decided I wanted to pick a favorite soccer team, but I didn't want to be a bandwagon because I felt cheap. Like just to pick like, Liverpool, Arsenal or something, Man City, Man United. It felt lame. So I
Of course.
picked Brentford because they had just been promoted and Ivan Toney scored a bunch of goals in the championship. So I figured it'd be fun. And I've been a Brentford fan ever since. I don't see many of the games because I don't wake up early enough to see most of them.
Jack wakes up at
But
2 in the afternoon. Jack and I were
mhm,
writing today, and we were in a room
yeah.
like we record in, and he's like, "I'm gonna go eat breakfast," and it was 3:00.
Yeah, I don't really have an excuse for that. I woke up at like noon, and so like even like if noon was 7 a.m. to say 3 hours later after I woke up, I'm gonna eat breakfast. That's even a bit egregious. So,
But go
no
back. You
excuses
got
here. Yes,
you're a big Brentford fan.
big Brentford fan. I love Brentford. I got some jerseys for Christmas, so I decided to do a haul since I mocked hauls on last episode. I figured I'd do my haul. I got 3 jerseys for Christmas. They're all very cool. This
Now
one,
are they real?
yes, they're from the Brentford's shop.
Oh,
They're
okay.
Christmas presents, so I figured I could
Nice,
ask for real
nice.
jerseys. And so this one is, I have to make sure I got it right. Rico Henry here, showing it on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, go watch on YouTube. How about them
Here, I'm
Celtics?
taking away the nameplates. We don't need the nameplates. We got the
Yes, you're
nameplates
right.
below.
You're right.
Here we
So
go.
Rico Henry jersey right here.
Okay, very nice.
Very nice, clean,
Yes.
very cool color. Throw it away. Ivan Toney jersey. This is my second favorite jersey. I'm going in order of least favorite to favorite. I like them all, but
Okay.
Rico Henry jersey. This is their main kit, the red and white stripes.
Yes.
Very nice, Ivan Toney. And
The
then
nice.
this,
Those
yes,
are not cheap, by the way.
no, I don't know exactly how much they were, but my mom needed Christmas presents, and I didn't have many, so I gave her a few Christmas present ideas. Figured I'd support the team. This is my favorite one. It is Brian Mbumo. For those who don't know, during the World Cup, there was a player who got memed for looking like LeBron James. Brian Mbumo, Brentford player. There you go.
Oh, really?
Yes, Brian Mbumo, and this jersey's fire, by the way. Very cool.
Yeah. Look at
Very
that. You
sick.
got the pink and black and the yellow all together.
Very, very
And it
cool.
looks like pink lemonade.
It's very cool, Brian Mbumo jersey. But I wanted to do my own haul since I made fun of them last week, but or a few days ago, whatever it was.
Jack has
Yes.
grown as a person. He has reflected on perhaps being too harsh to the girls at Target.
I'm reformed.
And he's grown. He's grown.
Speaking
He's
of
come out
Target,
on this podcast.
I'm going to be known for my Target stories now. I went to
Mm.
Target yesterday. I think I told you this. Maybe I didn't. I go to Target. I'm just going to pick up like dishwasher detergent, some some more of these bowls I've been eating, these like frozen things I heat up. Just normal stuff, normal Target run. I get there, I go in. There are no carts available. There's no carts at the front. There's no
Mm.
baskets. There's 2 baskets and they both don't have the handle, so they're useless. No one took them. And the line for checkout was halfway down the store. So I turned around, I walked out, I got some Starbucks, and I went home. I no Target for Jack. It was not worth my time. I will go to Target tomorrow, or whatever. And I was very upset because that was the second time in the past week I went into Target and they didn't have any carts, which was just
And you
ridiculous.
left. Good
But
for you.
I left. The first time we stayed because I was with like my mom and my sister, so we needed stuff. But the second time I was just going in for a few things. It just was not.
Now,
It
how
was not
far
worth
is
it.
Target from you?
10 minutes, 10-minute drive. It's really
Okay.
not far. It's
Well, I know
in
you don't
the
typically
neighborhood.
go out very much.
I know.
Unless
I
you're
love
going to the
Target though.
drive-through or Target.
I do love Target. I go out more now. I go to games. I go to the T. I have
Yes.
my schedule.
Yes.
I do stuff. It's more active, more out there. I'm going to basketball tonight. We're playing hoops.
Yes, we're
So
playing
give me
basketball
some
tonight
credit. Come
after
on.
this.
Yes.
We're
yes,
gonna
yes.
test out the old legs here after being on the shelf for a
Oof.
week.
My
But it's okay.
I like to
Did
say
my
I
run
have
today.
I have Steph Curry ankles because I am a large man with tiny legs. So it is not fun for me. Anyway, speaking of Steph Curry and basketball, we can talk about the Celtics. Did you want to start with the Raptors or Warriors? Because we need
Let's
to
go
talk
in
about
order.
both.
That Warriors game was a big game, so
Huge.
we
Oh,
can't
such a good
not
game.
talk about it.
Yep. Celtics taking down the Warriors. What was the final score in that one? I just want to make
That
sure
was
I watched.
121-118.
Gotcha. Well, Celtics making I don't want to say miraculous comeback, but they definitely deserved to lose that game.
Yeah.
They were not the better team. The Warriors were the better team for almost the entirety of the game. And yet the Celtics came out on top, ended up getting the win in OT. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown both did not shoot well. Jason Tatum ended up putting up some solid stats. Excuse me, career high in rebounds. But the Warriors, 4 of their starters Clay, Curry, Poole, and Wiggins all scored 20+ points. Draymond had 11, 13, and 9, so he did his Draymond thing. And the Celtics just kind of, grinded out the win behind performances from Al Horford, Marcus Smart, Malcolm Brogdon. All the peripheral guys stepped up and helped the Celtics earn the win. It was one of my favorite games of the season, at least especially from a neutral perspective. And since the Celtics ended up coming out on top, it was also a decent Celtics game too.
Well, you're absolutely right. They didn't deserve to win the game. And when you said miraculous comeback, it's not really that far-fetched for you to say that, because that was a game where it just felt like it was one of those games where you're not getting anything from anybody except Al Horford.
Mm-hmm.
He was the only guy, and Rob gave you some good minutes there, even though he looked like he was drunk for a quarter and a half. After he got over it, he was actually playing pretty well, gave you a nice spark heading into the half. But you couldn't make layups. You weren't making any threes. Anytime you got close, you wouldn't get a stop. You had Horford blocking shots and Tatum rebounding it and then throwing it right back to Jordan Poole. Like, there was everything going wrong that could possibly go wrong, and they still managed to win that game. If you watched the Raptors game yesterday and you had the local stream, you heard Sean Grandy probably mention a bunch of times, they won that game against the Warriors without leading in the second half. They did not have a single lead for a single second in the third or fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's remarkable that they won that game. They were begging to lose that game. Jason Tatum was begging to lose that game. If you didn't watch and you just looked at the box score, you would see 34 points, 19 rebounds. He had a monster night. Wrong. He was terrible. He made costly mistakes at costly times. Again, I mentioned it. Horford made a big block.
I was going to say, yes.
And he threw the ball right away. That was a huge momentum play.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do? You're not going to play perfect every night. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
But on the pregame show before the Warriors game, we talked about it, and I mentioned Tatum traditionally has not played well against the Warriors. He had the one game in the COVID year where they were at the Garden, and it was a back and forth between him and Curry, and he had, 44 points? You looked it up last time.
Something like that, yeah. An efficient 44, too, so yeah.
Yeah, he played well, but that's like the only time you can be like, wow, Tatum played well. He is not good against that team.
That was the last efficient performance he had. That
the whole
2 years ago.
The whole core of the Celtics has dominated against the Warriors traditionally. Horford, Smart, Jaylen Brown. They have all been a part of those Celtics teams back in the day that would go into Oracle and win when they were unbeatable. They've all been there when the Celtics have played the Warriors well. So for Tatum not to have a great game, it really doesn't matter, because even though I still feel like the Warriors are a true contender, they've got a lot of work to do if they want to get back to the finals.
They're 500 right now.
Yeah, they're 500. But I don't know. He doesn't technically break the mental issue he might have had against the Warriors. That's like the biggest thing you want to complain about. And then Jaylen Brown, terrible for 46 and a half minutes, and then
48 minutes.
Monster for overtime and the game-tying shot in regulation. Unbelievable. That was one of the greatest in-game turnarounds I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He went from, oh my God, I can't believe this guy's going to take a shot, to, oh my God, this guy can't miss.
It was incredible. And I laugh because we talked about this. I think it was in the Heat game. I vividly remember making a Instagram short of me saying this was one of the most miraculous in-game turnarounds I've ever seen. And it was Jaylen Brown again. So he just has this ability to come in clutch when the Celtics need him. I mean, he hit the game-tying shot with X amount of seconds on the clock. Excuse me. He was one of the only Celtics who scored in overtime. He was one of the only Celtics who was on fire in overtime. Like he was one of their go-to guys again.
He was the go-to guy.
He was.
Give him the credit.
He
Not
was
that
awesome.
You're trying to avoid it, but he deserves every ounce of the credit in that win.
Spinning the I hate JB narrative again.
No, I'm trying to avoid it. That's why I said not that you're trying to avoid giving him the credit. But he really turned up. I could not believe that. And then he was pretty good against the Raptors too, which we don't have to move on to now, but he was solid.
We do. But yeah, the Warriors game was awesome. I mean, I feel like there was this narrative heading into that game that the Celtics have always been bad against the Warriors. It's really been the opposite.
Very wrong.
Outside of the finals and then the one game earlier this season, they've been very, very good against the Warriors. Like, I remember seeing this stat somewhere, like over the past 5 or so years. This was, I think, last year, 2 years ago. Over the past X amount of years, every single team in the NBA has a sub 500 record against the Warriors, except for the Celtics, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a stat out there like that. The Isaiah Thomas Celtics played them very well. The Kemba Walker, Gordon Hayward, Jason Tatum Celtics played them pretty well. Just historically speaking, throughout this current Warriors dynasty, the Celtics have been one of the biggest, pains in their butts. And a lot of people were talking about that heading into the finals last year. And I feel like the finals has, obviously the Celtics didn't play well, but I feel like it's turned into the Celtics got killed in the finals. It was 6 games, right? Like the Celtics definitely should have played better. They could have played better. And if they had played better, they could have won the game. But like, it's not like they got swept. Like they took 2 games off the Warriors. It was a 6-game series. It was a pretty competitive series. The Celtics just
they should have won.
fell
Don't
flat.
get me started.
I know,
Don't get
but
me started.
my point is, I feel like a lot of people have this perspective of it was a sweep when it just wasn't, right? So
Well, it felt that way because they lost 3 in a
did.
row. Not
It's 'cause they
that
played
a
so
sweep
poorly.
is 3 in a row, but I mean, it felt that way.
I know, and
They
I
fumbled
understand
game
that,
4 and they never recovered, and that's what people hung on to.
which
And then
is
when
fair,
they saw them
but
go into Chase Center in December and get absolutely spanked, they're like, "Oh my god," they're still like frazzled by dropping those 3 games in a row.
I will say though, in that Chase Center game, which was December 10th, by the way, because I've had to write about it so many times that I
Yeah,
know the date.
gazillion times.
They were missing Al Horford, and look who came up big against the
Al
Warriors this
Horford
time
and
around.
Rob Williams.
Who's going to and Robert Williams, and both of them, like you said, after a rough start from Rob, both of them played very well. Al Horford was huge for them, and you mentioned the block that happened not only once, but that happened twice. Al Horford had 3 blocks in the game. One was the chase down block on Jordan Poole in the first quarter. The other 2 blocks were both in the fourth quarter, and both of them were followed by immediate Celtics turnovers, which it's just just instantly instant Celtics turnovers. Al Horford gets a major block. The Celtics throw the ball away. I know it was Tatum one of the times. I don't know who it was the other time. I don't know if you remember, but
I think it was Tatum
was
both
bad.
times.
It was
not
bad,
positive, but I think it was him both times. Odds are it was because he had 7 turnovers. But oh man, that was frustrating.
It was bad
Because it was they were doing everything they could to lose that game, and they did. Good on them. They didn't lose.
I was there for the game. I was up with the media people. I was sitting next to Bobby Kravitsky of Sports Illustrated, Cam Tabatabai, friend of the show of USA Today, and then Sam Packard, another friend of the show of The Athletic. And we just kept turning to each other and we're like, every time something good happens, something bad happens, right? Like Sam was talking about other Sam, not our Sam. Other Sam was talking about, I think Al Horford, after both of these blocks, I'm pretty sure the Celtics have just turned it over both times. And then when Malcolm Brogdon, who was great, by the way, Malcolm Brogdon was very good, just kept missing layups at the whole Celtics
they missed
team.
a lot around the rim.
Everyone missed layups. We just kept turning to each other. It was bad. I mean, everybody.
It's where's the camera? Who's screwing with me?
Exactly. The elevator at TD Garden that brings you up to the 9th floor takes forever because there is only one elevator that will take you to the 9th floor, and it just keeps going up and down to all the floors. So it takes a while. And so usually if it's like a blowout or something, you leave a couple minutes early before the game ends so you get down in time for the press conferences. This time around, we were ready to just start packing up with X amount of minutes to go in the game. And it's like, okay, let's get ready to go to the elevator. And then couple shots, couple little runs, Celtics are back in it, and we're going to overtime. So that should tell you just how much the Celtics did not deserve to win that game and how much they probably should have lost that game. It was incredible. I mean, TD Garden was loud when they were back in it, but when the Celtics were not in it, it was not a fun environment because as much as we like to say Celtics fans travel, Warriors fans travel well too. Like they have, and I know
No. I'm not convinced those are Warriors fans. Not that the Warriors
they're
do
Steph
have
Curry fans, which is different. That's a part of it. And
different. No,
different. Steve Kerr talked about it. He compared Curry to Jordan in the sense that like when the Jordan Bulls were so popular, there were so many Michael Jordan fans around the world that you would see like 23 Bulls jerseys like covering half the arena. And I'm not saying it was covering half the arena in Boston, but like wherever you go, there will be Stephen Curry fans. And they're not necessarily, we're fans of the Warriors. They're fan of Stephen Curry, and because of that, they're fans of the Warriors, which is it's not the same. Yes,
because if Steph Curry got traded tomorrow, they wouldn't like the Warriors. That's not a Warriors fan. And
I know.
If any Warriors fan is listening to this, they're probably agreeing with me because they don't. Let's put it like this: if the Celtics had a player like that was widely popular, and you had people come over just for that guy, they would become so annoying on Twitter. because nothing would ever be that guy's fault. Not that Curry hasn't been a legendary player for
It's
that
the
one
same as
team.
LeBron fans. It's the
Yes.
same as LeBron
It's
fans.
the same thing.
And in the same way that LeBron's fans, they were Cavs fans, then they were Heat fans, and then they were Cavs fans, and now they're
Exactly.
Lakers fans, right? But
Those people annoy the hell out of me. You
my
people
point
are bad. You guys are bad in general. You're not bad for anything. You're bad. That is the oh man, I'm about to go on a legendary rant.
Oh no.
That is the epitome of weakness is supporting a player and following from team to team because that team's going to win and not sticking through with whatever team it is that you like when things aren't going well. I love to crap on Knicks fans more than anybody because they annoy the hell out of me. But those people, if nothing else, are loyal because that team has done nothing in forever. And
They're good
they
this year. They're okay
still fill up that arena all the time.
They
Good
do.
for them. Now that doesn't mean they're going to win anything because they're not, but they still show up and they still talk on Twitter. So good for them. But if you're chasing a player around, shame on you because you are bad.
My point was not to induce that rant. My point was
Oh
that
my God, you had no intention of that.
no. My point was more. There were more. We'll call them Curry fans since we don't want to use the word Warriors fans. Also, there were more Warriors jerseys in that arena than I've seen there be any other opposing team jerseys in any arena. And for the first time since I've been there, personally at games, and it's probably happened in the past, but it's just not in my experience. When Steph Curry was announced in the starting lineups, the cheers were louder than the boos. I'll put it that way. So, which is, I know, going to anger you as a Celtics fan.
It is angering.
My point
and I like
is,
Curry. I like him.
My point is the arena was popping. And even when the Warriors were making shots, it was popping. And from the perspective of a neutral fan, it was a phenomenal game. Obviously, as the How About Them Celtics podcast, not the How About Them Warriors podcast, it was great to see the ending that happened with Jaylen Brown hitting the shot and the OT victory. But yeah, it was just a great game. And shout out Al Horford. He deserves all the credit over anybody else because, I mean, in that beginning of the game when the Celtics were getting absolutely nothing, he posted up Andrew Wiggins. He posted up Draymond Green. He had 8 points and 5 rebounds in the first 6 minutes. I remember because I tweeted about it. He was absolutely on fire. I think he finished with 20 points, 10 rebounds. He hit some clutch shots. He was awesome.
4 blocks,
3
a
blocks,
lot of blocks.
3 blocks. He was phenomenal. He was everything you needed from him and more. So shout out Al Horford. He deserves the credit for that win.
He came to play. He remembered. He said, hey.
He said it after the game.
We let this team win a title? Remember we let that bum Jordan Poole get a ring? He's on the rat list, by the way. I can't stand that guy. He's so irritating. Because if he wasn't on the Warriors, like he'd be like a lower level Zach LaVine. To where he'd put up numbers, but the team wouldn't win or be
it's
any
the
good.
It's the perfect mix. You know how they always say like players will be at their best version of themselves if they're put in the right situation. He landed in the perfect situation for him where he can play
Great
like Stephen Curry. Yeah, no, it's phenomenal for him. I mean, good for him. You don't have to like him, but like he landed in the perfect spot for his game. So yeah,
not a fan.
Rat list for Sam.
You want to talk about another rat, Nick Nurse? Tell you what, Celtics slapped them both around. Not really slapped them around, but they beat them both. Right? Great couple days, kind of. You get some injury scares.
For sure. We can talk about that Raptors game next. Celtics earning a 106-104 victory over the Raptors. No Jason Tatum, and then we'll talk about the injuries after we talk about the game. But Marcus Smart and Robert Williams both ruled out at halftime, so they were forced to roll with a very different lineup. Excuse me, Jaylen Brown, I believe, finishing with 27 points, 8 rebounds, something assists. I'm trying to find the box score right now, but I'm struggling. Yeah, I'm struggling. I wasn't prepared. I had the Warriors box score still.
I'm sorry. Computer. I rushed you.
No, I just wasn't ready. I was right though. 27 points, 8 rebounds. I got correct. It was 6 assists, not 9. 3 steals as well, a bunch of turnovers, but we don't have to talk about that part. Malcolm Brogdon and Grant Williams both coming up big off the bench. Grant Williams finishing 25 points, a regular season career high. Let's add that asterisk there. I can't say that word.
Can we pause real quick? I don't know why they separate that.
It's kind of stupid.
I don't hate it, but it's like so stupid.
It just doesn't make sense.
If you look at like team records, because I was doing this a bit as we prep for our upcoming live stream, which will have Celtics Jeopardy. We'll plug it, right?
Yeah, we will.
January 30th. It'll happen.
There we go. live stream for
next Monday, week from when
Yes,
this
yes.
comes out. It'll be happening. Don't know what time yet, but just be aware. Anyways, doing research, looking up stats, looking up career highs, things like that. And it's like, why do they not count playoff games? Playoff
Mhm.
games aren't any different. They're not more time. There's no difference in how much time they play to where the stats would be skewed. Why does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, and they really leaned into it. I mean, it doesn't take away from the great game Grant played. He was awesome against the Raptors.
How many
So
did he
shout out
finish
to
with?
him. 25 points.
Ooh, good
Real
game.
good game. An efficient 25 too, 7 of 13 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, 5 boards as well. Malcolm Brogdon finishing with 23 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 8 of 16 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3. Great tandem off the bench. And I mean, maybe the most important, despite that scoring, Payton Pritchard was huge off the bench for the Celtics as well. 12, 2, and 2, 4 of 7 from the field, all of which were 3-point attempts, and all of his 3-point makes were in the fourth quarter. Made 4 threes in the fourth. Was just absolutely huge. The Celtics needed him, especially with Smart down, Rob down, Tatum down, and Derek White, who also got injured in the fourth a little bit, although he's okay. Pritchard was awesome. The Celtics big win with some controversy at the end. I say with quotations, as in Nick Nurse is big mad, but it was a good win for the Celtics. It was a good win.
Excellent win. And if you're Payton Pritchard, good for you, because you just sat around for a month and didn't play, and then had the biggest opportunity you've had of the season in a game that really was shaping up to be a loss. It did not look like they were going to pull that one out.
It was like
just
the
with all
Warriors
the
game,
injuries.
honestly.
Yeah, it was like they really can't get a stop when they need it. And they got on a roll at the beginning of the fourth quarter behind Pritchard. And then they had a lull again where they couldn't get a stop. And then Pritchard said, all right, we'll ice the game here. And he made a big 3 with under 2 minutes to put him up 4 or 6, something like that.
I wrote about it. It was 1:30 left in the game. The game was tied 103-103. And Pritchard hit a shot, put him up by 3 points, and that was their last 3 points of the game.
This
And
guy's
they held
crazy,
on.
man.
It was
And
awesome.
I know you saw the quote on Twitter where I forget who it was called him a psycho because he
Steve
just
Bulpett. It was Steve Bulpett.
Steve Bulpett called him a psycho, or somebody called him a psycho to Steve Bulpett, but it's via Steve.
It was
Correct?
Steve tweeted. He goes, an executive just called me wanting to talk about Pritchard, and I told him I've never seen this sort of confidence in a player. To be honest, it's the sort of confidence that you only see in psychopaths.
It's
So,
true.
there you
This
go.
dude is just sitting there watching basketball. You wrote about it for Heavy. Marcus Smart told him he's not going to play on this team. Unfortunately for him, it was not a malicious thing.
No.
Despite what the headline Jack wrote.
All right. Keep going.
But seriously, like, he's so far buried behind that deep guard rotation the Celtics have. He's not going to see minutes. And when he does, he's really been solid this year. For the most part, he had a bit of a rough start when he started seeing some minutes earlier in the season, but lately he has really been reliable. It reminds me of the playoffs last year against the Nets, or even, I don't know, last week against the Nets when he came out and killed them at Barclays because he got time. I mean, this guy he loves the opportunity. That Nets game too, he was the guy kind of in the fourth quarter. He had 10 points in that game and they came back from 17 down. He was a big part of it. He made big shots.
I will say, I wrote about Pritchard this morning for Celtics blog. He got all the opportunities under Brad Stevens in his first year. This is a guy who's had 3 different head coaches in 3 seasons, right? We don't talk about that enough because the Celtics have had this consistent core. He's had to re-earn his spot in the rotation twice now. He earned it with Brad Stevens his rookie year. It took him some time and he got in there. He had to re-earn it with Ime Udoka last year, and he finally got back in there. And to be honest, the way he earned it with Ime Udoka, if you remember, it was a big game against the Pistons. You remember that game where he popped off in the fourth quarter and he helped them earn a win?
That I don't remember off the top of my head, which is weird. Usually I'm pretty good about knowing stuff. At least with the Celtics.
I'll find the box score as we're talking, but he earned it with a big performance. He helped the Celtics to win. I think Jaylen Brown was out. I remember they had injuries and Pritchard had to step up. It's pretty similar to the way he just played right now, and it's going to make Joe Mazzulla's life very, very hard because I also wrote an article for Celtics blog about how he's going to have to figure out minutes with Brogdon and Derek White if Robert Williams is to continue starting. And now if Pritchard needs minutes too, it's going to be a disaster for Mazzulla to figure out because you're going to have Celtics fans saying, give this person minutes, this. You can't give everyone minutes. That's just the reality of the situation. But in your opinion, should Payton Pritchard be a part of the regular rotation now?
No. I mean, maybe if you want to play him instead of Hauser, who has not seen run in the last 2 games, to my memory. Is he hurt?
No, he's not hurt. He's just fallen out of the rotation.
Yeah, he's out of the. That's bad. If he didn't play in that Raptors game when they had nobody out there,
Did he get
maybe
any
Pritchard
minutes?
does go in that
He was
rotation
a
then.
DNP Hauser. DNP.
If here's how you got to think about it, right? If Hauser's not knocking down shots, he's really not giving you anything special.
Yeah.
The difference between him and Pritchard is that one, Hauser's taller, so it makes him more able on defense, per se. Doesn't mean he's going to
Yeah,
be this
in theory.
tremendous defender.
And he's been good there.
And he's been fine. Yeah. Now, Pritchard traditionally has been able to shoot the 3 at a high clip. Before this season, he has been a career 40% three-point shooter. This season, I'm not sure what it's at. It's probably on the rise because he's been good lately, but it's really tough in the role he's played this year to be that consistent. It's down this year. However, the career numbers tell you he's 40%, at least before this season. It still might be 40%, including the season. I'm not sure.
It is. On the season, on his career, 40.3% is
40.3%. Okay, fine. So you need somebody to shoot off the bench for you. Pritchard can also do that. He can't defend like Hauser can with the size. However, we've seen it over the last couple appearances from Pritchard. He can create his own shot on offense, which is a big thing, especially when you're missing somebody like a Jason Tatum or when Jaylen Brown's out. Or even if, let's say, Derek White or Brogdon has an off game. He offers you a lot of flexibility on the offensive end because you can rely on him to hit tough shots, create shots, and make big shots. You saw it against the Raptors. We already kind of touched on it. Clutch 3 with 1.5 minutes to go to break the tie. That's pretty crazy from a guy that's sitting watching a bunch of games from the bench.
Yeah.
Why not play him?
I found the Pistons game, by the way, if you're curious, that I believe I was correct about. It was, I'm making sure I have the right Pistons game because there were 2 they played in the second half of last season, and I'm pretty sure Payton Pritchard came up big in one. The date was, if I can find the date because it is now escaping me, February 27th, or maybe it was 26th because they wrote this after. Yeah, February 26th, the game was. Pritchard scored 19 points off the bench, including 10 points in the fourth quarter alone. Played almost the entire fourth quarter. Celtics earned a 9-point victory over the Pistons. Everyone played, but Pritchard just got an opportunity. He came up big in that game. So yeah, I mean, you can't really say enough good things about Pritchard after that Raptors game. And just like it was the Pistons game last year that I'm referencing, after that, he started to get a little bit more run in Udoka's rotation. Missoula might be forced to give him some chances this season because he's been really, really good. And with the trade deadline coming up, maybe this is him increasing his value for Brad Stevens to trade him, but I think it's really hard to trade him because I don't think you're going to be able to get equal value for Payton Pritchard.
Agreed.
If trading Pritchard is the difference between getting a legitimate rotation piece at the wing, then sure. But other than that, you can't really trade Pritchard with how well he's playing because you're just not going to get the return on investment that you want. And at this point, you probably just run out the season with him, use him in the correct spots. And then next year, if you really want to talk about it, if he's not going to resign, at a reasonable price, then you're kind of forced to trade him. But right now, I don't think you can trade the guy.
I'm not convinced that they need to make any trade because I'm really starting to feel like the buyout market's going to be where they find whatever they want, mainly because of what you're saying is the money is really tough to make work. There aren't a lot of impactful players making the money that would either fit into a TPE that they have or match Pritchard's salary. And if you want it, unless you want to throw in Gallinari, you're not making it happen, which we've talked about before, kind of makes you look bad. So you can't do it. Can't do it. Guy tore his ACL, wants to be here. You can't just deal him. And he's posting all this stuff looking like he's, on the way back.
He talked to an Italian media outlet today. He said the goal is to be back for the playoffs. So if you want some hope, Celtics fans, there you go for Gallinari.
Yeah. But back to your point about Pritchard, he really is the best insurance that this team can have for just about any injury. Because we saw Tatum out against the Raptors, and he stepped in and filled the role. Not Tatum's role, but he filled a scoring role and it did it well.
Smart's role, Smart's role with that
Yeah.
at least, or at least Brogdon was able to shift into Marcus's
I mean,
role
he's
or
finishing the
White or somebody.
game.
He was
This
huge.
guy is watching from the end of the bench in 90% of your games this year, and he's out there finishing a tough game for you and hitting big shots. Why on earth would you get rid of that?
Mhm.
Unless you're getting something really great back. It's tough. I hate seeing it because he's a quality player. He seems to work hard, and he probably deserves better than the role he has with the Celtics, and he definitely can handle better than he has with the Celtics.
Mhm.
But from a selfish fan perspective, I want that guy on my team. He's
I
great.
agree.
What
It
out there are you going to find that's better than Pritchard?
Not
Nothing.
much. Not much, and the only thing I might say is, and I know you don't like picks, and I don't like you don't need picks at this point. If you got like a ridiculously high unprotected pick, like from a team looking to like one of these fringe teams, like the Raptors, for example, who could actually fall into the lottery or could fall,
And could
15,
be suitors
16.
for him because, I mean, they
Exactly.
have no bench.
You know what I'm saying? If they are willing to give you a lottery pick that could either be, 12 to 14 in the lottery or, 15, 16, 17. At that point, you might be forced to consider it just because of the potential moves you can make this summer with that trade
Oh
and et
man,
cetera,
how
move down
how
the order.
great would
But
that be if they traded for like the Raptors pick and it became Wembanyama?
Wembanyama, right?
Oh my god.
Like my point is, would you trade Pritchard for a 1% chance of Wembanyama? Probably, right? Like at that point, you'd
Yeah,
probably take your
maybe.
chances.
Because this draft
Like,
seems like it's pretty good besides him too. Like there's some
right. And
quality
if
guys.
you can get somebody, like even if you can get like a draft pick from 10 to 20 in this year's draft, like dumb. And I don't think there'd be any players or teams out there willing to trade a pick like that for Pritchard. But my point is, like, as much as you don't value picks, if you can get something like that for Pritchard, you might have to consider. Um, but again, like a quick look at the NBA standings. There's a lot of teams. This is a seller's market. I'll put it that way, right? Because there are so many
Yes.
good teams that want to compete. Like potential teams that fall under that category, the Wizards. Say the Wizards want to make a move, and they're willing to give you their first round pick. And keep in mind, I don't know who owns their first round picks. I don't actually think the Wizards own their first round pick. I'm just talking out of my ass here, so keep that in mind. But like the Raptors, if they want to make some sort of move to stay in the race, I don't think they will, but maybe they do. If the Trailblazers or something, the Bulls own the Trailblazers pick. I think, let's say the Bulls go on a 5-game run and they need some extra guard depth, something get hurt, blah blah blah, something like that happens, or if the Jazz want it, I don't think any of these teams would trade their first round pick. But my point is that's the level of value you're probably looking at for the Celtics if you do trade Pritchard, because he's more valuable to your team than he would be on most other teams. I'll put it that way. Not in the sense of what he could do statistically, because he'll obviously get more run on another team, but like having a random wing versus Pritchard, who is confident and able to do what he can, and what you have, and he fits in the chemistry, like it's not worth it unless you get more than his value in return. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to flip him for somebody of equal value because they don't have the upside of the chemistry, the confidence, the mindset, the toughness. You don't know what you're getting, right? So if you're going to flip Pritchard, it has to be something of really, really high value.
If you're saying like for the Celtics,
I
they're
phrased
not
it
going to get
poorly.
anything back that's worth what Pritchard's worth to them. Yes.
That's
But
what
if
I meant.
Pritchard could be worth more to another team than he is to the Celtics.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
phrased it wrong. Like if you put him on the Lakers, he's going to be more valuable because he can play a larger role. But my point is the Lakers don't have anything the Celtics could get back that would be more worth it than Pritchard is to them right now. That's kind of what I was trying to say.
Okay. Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
I don't think it's
And,
worth
and
it.
it's completely true. I mean, we already talked about, like, what are you going to get back? Nothing. There's nothing worth it. That game seals it for me. That's a guy you want on your team in the playoffs. I feel like it's dangerous to get rid of. Not dangerous.
The only
Dangerous
team I
is a
could,
stretch.
if the Suns gave you their first round pick for Pritchard, I'd do that. I'll put it that way because that's a good example, because they can trade their first round pick because they own it. They are a team who might look to, make some sort of push when Booker gets back from injury. If the Suns say, we'll give you our unprotected 2023 first round pick, I would trade Pritchard for that pick, because that's a pick that could end up being in the lottery, or it could end up being, 15, 16 at the very least. And at that point, you're getting a mid first round pick in a very good draft class. And even if you don't want to use it, you can trade it, because a lot of teams around the league will probably want it. So that's a good example of what I would trade. If if you wanted to trade Pritchard, that's the bar. I'll put it that way. You have to meet that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What rumors have we heard about that have been worth it? We always hear teams are interested. We heard the Warriors were interested, but like, what are you going to get from the Warriors? What are you getting from the Warriors?
Well,
their whole
first round
problem
pick,
is that they don't have any type of depth. You're not going to
their
get anything worthwhile back.
You want to talk about a first round pick that could end up being, middle of the pack. At this point, it looks like it could be. Unfortunately, they can't trade their 2023 first round pick because they owe their 2024 first round pick. And so it would have to be a swap, and they can't do that because Celtics traded theirs away, so they can't swap it. So there's a whole thing. I remember someone was talking about it. I think Bobby Manning in the Celtics
not worth
podcast,
it.
so it couldn't be that. So it would have to be like a 2026 first, and at that point, it wouldn't be worth it.
I'm just trying to think of teams that like he could really make an impact on, like the Spurs,
Phoenix, the Suns. Is a good example. They're rolling out, and Saban Lee has been good for them, but that's who they've been running at point guard, Saban Lee. So
don't know what that guy looks like. So
exactly. Other than that, like the Thunder, if they want to actually make a play-in push, but they're not going to trade you their pick. Hell no. So like the Blazers, if they want extra depth, but they don't own their 2023 first, the Bulls do. Don't ask me why I know that. I've written too many trade articles. The Timberwolves, but they clearly don't have any draft picks to trade you, so
they don't have any draft picks. They have D'Angelo Russell, who's real mad. Like I don't know.
The Clippers. Do the Clippers give you
something? What are you
something?
Gonna get from the Clippers?
I don't think they own their
Norm
first round
Powell. They're not going to get those guys back. Maybe Covington you would, but he's not really that good.
Actually, I mean, maybe you trade, like the Thunder own the Clippers pick. So maybe, and it's a swap. So maybe the Thunder say, we'll give you this Clippers pick for Payton Pritchard, which again, I don't think the Thunder would do. I don't think they're in a state where they're going to trade any draft picks. But my point is that is the line, because even if you can get a chance at winning the lottery or something, that is the bar, or even, a 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, etc. But I don't think it'll happen. We're just talking out of our ass at this point. I don't think the Celtics are trading Pritchard. I think the buyout market is far more likely. Did we talk about buyout market candidates last time on the pod, or did we talk about it on the pregame?
Oh man, I can't remember. I think we did it briefly on the pregame.
Let me check the old pod.
Because it seems kind of recent to me.
When was our last pod?
Tuesday.
What was it? What date is that? Sorry, I'm looking at my Google Docs. Yeah, I'm looking at my Google Docs because I keep it all here. 117, 5 days ago. That makes sense. I don't think we talked about trade targets, but I don't know if we talked about buyout targets. So you want to talk a little bit? We need to talk about the injuries first. We haven't talked about the injuries yet.
Oh yeah, we didn't do that. Huh?
Let me. I got completely sidetracked with Payton Pritchard. Marcus Smart and Robert Williams both unfortunately got hurt in the Raptors game. Robert Williams got hurt first. Jaylen Brown fell into his knee in the first quarter. Was it the first quarter or was it the second quarter? It was early in the game. It was first half. Jaylen Brown fell into Rob's knee. Rob came back into the game and he played more by the end of halftime, by the end of the first half. So he looked okay. He was able to play, although he might have looked a little off. Marcus Smart went down in the second quarter, I believe it was, with a non-contact. I thought it was a knee injury because that's what Sean Grandy was saying on the broadcast, but it ended up being an ankle injury, a high ankle sprain, I think is what it is at this point. However, both got positive updates after the game. I'm pulling up the exact quote here so I can quote Joe Mazzulla. Jared Weiss of The Athletic tweeted, Joe Mazzulla said Robert Williams hyperextended his knee, but it's nothing serious. Marcus Smart's knee is fine, but his rolled ankle will be a day-to-day issue at this point for Mazzulla. And the follow-up from that is for tomorrow's game is it tomorrow's game or the next day? When does
tomorrow, Monday.
For Monday's game, when you're listening to this, Marcus Smart is out. He is out. Rob is questionable. Malcolm Brogdon out for personal reasons, not an injury. And then obviously Gallinari is out as well. So it seems like all positive updates for Marcus Smart and Robert Williams for the long run. Also, Derek White, who hurt his knee in the fourth quarter and didn't come back. He's okay. That's all Mazzulla said on it. So I assume that's nothing. And he's not even on the injury report. So Derek White will play. Derek White, by the way, only Celtic who's played in every single game this year. Shout out to him.
The Iron Man.
Yeah, except he keeps getting hurt. But it seems like all good things on the Smart and Rob injury fronts in terms of the long term at the very least. So that's very, very good updates for the Celtics.
Agree. I was pretty pissed, especially
not fun.
The way Marcus Smart got hurt was ridiculous. I'm sorry.
I thought it was an ACL or something. I thought he was done.
Not even that part. The reason he got hurt there was an easy pass to Jaylen Brown under the basket that was not made, and there was a wide open shot from Al Horford that was not taken. If either of those things happened, Marcus Smart did not get hurt. But they, for whatever reason, just didn't act on easy opportunities in that possession, and it literally hurt them. So, not a fan of that.
It was tough. And when Marcus Smart went down, I really thought it was going to be the type of thing where he'd be out for multiple weeks or he'd be out for a month or something, because it looked real bad. The Robert Williams thing really concerned me too, because he kind of like limped off after that Jaylen thing. I can't remember if he actually fell down, but when he came back into the game, I assumed it was fine. Now that he's questionable for the next game and he didn't play in the second half of the Toronto game, I assume they're just being cautious with him, like, because you got to be extra cautious with that guy. I mean, they were being careful even before this secondary injury. So I wouldn't surprise me if they held him out a game or two. Marcus Smart is already out for the game against the Heat, which is tonight as you're listening to this. So I think they'll be fine long term. Marcus Smart doesn't seem like the type of player, and he hasn't been the type of player to milk these injuries to stay out for an extended period of time. But while he is out, there's more opportunities for our guy Payton Pritchard. So I don't want to say it's a win, but it is a win for Pritchard at the very least. It's a win for Pritchard. It's a win for Pritchard.
It's a win for Pritchard.
He can get his time, but the update after the game was a win. It seems like both are short-term injuries rather than long-term issues, which is exactly what you want to hear if you are the Celtics and you are looking to make a run for the finals. So I am very happy with that. Speaking of the Celtics and their potential run to the finals, how about a 4.5 game lead on up top the Eastern Conference? How you feeling about that?
All right.
Not
Who doesn't
only that,
love that?
4.5 games up on Philly, who is second place. 5.5 games up on Milwaukee in third place. 6 games up on the Nets in fourth place. 6.5 up on the Cavs, and then 10 games separates the Boston Celtics from the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. They are absolutely phenomenal. They are the best team in basketball. They are one of 2 teams in the league with winning percentage above 70. The other being the Nuggets out west, who are 13-33, by the way. Very, very good Nuggets team who Sam likes to shit on. But
and they're fine. They're just who are they striking fear into their heart in the playoffs? Nobody.
I think they're a conference finals team this year at the very least, and I think they have all the potential to get to the finals.
I mean, maybe,
but
I don't know. Like that whole Western Conference, besides the Warriors, well, Luka too. But who out there really
the Grizzlies?
Scares you? Kawhi, if he decides he wants to play.
I think the Grizzlies are phenomenal. I think they're. If I had to pick a team to make it out of the West right now, and I know I've been up in the Nuggets, and I think they can, but I'm taking the Grizzlies. I genuinely think they can get there. They are really good, and they just lost to the Lakers. They broke their 11-game win streak. As I'm saying,
how about that? that was
what an ending. What an ending that was.
Well, how about Shannon Sharp?
Yeah, right. But I mean, that was
Shannon Sharp yelling at Dylan Brooks, telling me can't. So, if you didn't see what happened, there was a huge
spat,
bench clearing altercation
at the end of the half
because Shannon Sharp was sitting courtside for his buddy LeBron, who he loves more than anybody, cheering him on, and he told Dylan Brooks he can't guard LeBron or something like that. And Brooks said "F you." And then Sharp said F you, and then they started yelling at each other.
Well, no, Sharp said, you can't guard LeBron, you're too small. And then Brooks was like, shut the F up or something. And then they went back and forth. Just weird.
But if you're Shannon Sharp, what do you expect him to say back to you? Did you think he was going to say, oh, thanks for the feedback, Unk? Is that what you thought he was going to say? You didn't think he was going to say F you? Of course he's going to say F you. He's in the middle of a game, and he's pumped up. The picture of Sharp is funny though.
Yeah, very very weird. And have you seen all the memes where it's Sharp shut up real quick when Steven Adams walked over? He shut his mouth.
Steven Adams. Ooh, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, in Sharp's defense, at least in that regard, I'd also be scared of Steven Adams. That is a big man.
Oh, who wouldn't be? I
love Steven Adams though. Steven Adams is one of the best in the league.
I don't get the whole. What did he expect from Dylan Brooks?
Yeah,
what did he expect him to do?
Also, and it's whatever. I don't actually care that much. If a random person did that, he'd be thrown out. Like any other dude would have gotten thrown out of that game. But again, it doesn't matter.
LeBron took to Twitter to defend him after LeBron has had people thrown out of games.
I think LeBron talked about it post game too.
He said whatever it was. He said something defending him, and This is the guy that's literally had people like handpicked to be thrown out of games.
Well, I will defend LeBron in that that one instance. It was the Pacers game when he got the Pacers fans thrown out. I'll defend him in that sense because I'm fairly certain I read somewhere that the Pacers fans were saying, "I hope your son dies" or something gross like that. So you deserve to be thrown out of the game if you're saying that. I'll give him
It's
that.
a little extreme.
I'll give him that credit. You can't be saying that. Anyways, there was one more. There was one more Celtics thing I did want to talk about. Oh, buyout. You want to talk about buyout, guys, quick for like a couple minutes at least?
Yeah, we got time.
All right. Potential buyout candidates. There was a report from I think it was Keith. Yeah, it was Keith Smith wrote for Celtics blog. He wrote a trade article, some stuff he's been hearing around the league. I'll read the quote for you. Keith saying, "Oh, do I have it here? Oh yeah. Various sources told Celtics blog that they expect Boston to be a top destination on the buyout market. One source said they don't need to make a trade. Why bother? They don't need anything. Brad already gave Joe everything he needs, and that Gallo exception, the DPE, the disabled player exception, will allow them to outspend everyone else for a buyout guy. That's key. They can let the deadline pass and then just outspend everyone else for a buyout guy. They can just pick off the best free agent or two. Sorry, ads keep moving the quote from the screen. Then pick off the best free agent or two for playoff depth, and the vets will all want the Celtics because they can get paid and then they can win. So not only are the Celtics the best team in the league where buyout guys want to go to win a championship or attempt to, they can also pay more because they have the disabled player exception for when Gallo got hurt. And for those asking, if Gallo does come back, they don't lose it. It's just, bonus for the Celtics. If Gallo comes back,
How funny it would be if like he did come back and the NBA was like, all right, this guy you signed, sorry, you're not on the team.
Yeah, right. Not how it works, but yeah, the Celtics can outpay anybody else for buyout players. So not only can they get more money, but they'll also be on the best team in the league. So some interesting ideas for the Celtics. They can snag one or two buyout guys if they did want to release Justin Jackson too. But at the very least, they traded Noah Vonleh, so they have an open spot to sign a buyout player. But that begs the question, Sam, who are you looking for in the buyout market? Are there any positions or any ideas you have off the top of your head? Like, what do you think the Celtics should look for?
Well, the obvious one is the wing. You want somebody off the bench who can shoot. We've talked about Hauser already on this pod. He hasn't been great. Spent the last 2 games watching. Maybe Eric Gordon, somebody. It's the last year of his deal, right?
I'll double check.
Finally? Is it finally the last year of his deal?
It's not.
No. How long is this guy under contract? What do you sign, a life contract?
Eric Gordon makes $19.56 million this year and $20.9 million next year. So
he's just been sitting there rotting in Houston.
Yep.
Well, not him.
Look up Eric Gordon contract history. Let me look up what he signed. I think he signed a 5-year extension.
My God, he's been there forever.
Or no, he signed a 4-year extension with the Rockets. Before the 2020-2021 season, I believe. The 2023-24 season, so next year, is not fully guaranteed. It is only fully guaranteed. And first off, more importantly, when I say fully guaranteed, if he is on the roster, it is guaranteed. But if they release him, they don't have to pay as much of the money. You know what I'm saying? So if they do a buyout, they can hold it over him. But it was like the Horford thing last year. Like Horford would get the money no matter what, unless the Celtics released him. So, but the guarantees are funny. They're only guaranteed if he makes the All-Star team, or he plays 500 minutes in the regular season, or Houston wins a championship. So probably it's not going to get guaranteed at this point for Eric Gordon. So it's looking like he will probably the buyout is still possible is what I'm saying. I don't know how much is guaranteed. I can't seem to find that, but I just know, it's fully non-guaranteed. Like the whole thing is not guaranteed, I believe. So I guess we'll see what happens with Eric Gordon, but that could be a buyout guy, even though he does have 2 years left. Excuse me. Speaking of guys who have 2 years left and could be a buyout guy, Khem Birch, if you really wanted a big man, even though that seems kind of like meh.
Not necessary to me
at this point. Other guys, Derrick Rose, maybe, because he does have a team option for next year. So if they really wanted to buy him out, but the Celtics really don't need another guard, so that doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, I think Pritchard is already far enough down the total.
Yeah.
Will Barton, he would be below Rose. I think he would be above him, actually.
Absolutely. Will Barton's a guy. I mean, he's shooting poorly from the field this year, 37.5, but 36.5 from deep. And he is no longer in Washington's rotation because they have so many guys on the roster. Played pretty well for Denver last year, played 32 minutes a night, averaged 15 points. He's not going to do that for the Celtics, but if you want another guy who can give you like decent enough minutes, like Will Barton's a guy, and there's a chance the Wizards buy him out. So that could end up being, excuse me, one of Boston's top options. Kelly Oubre, if the Hornets can't manage to offload that contract, but he makes, I don't know exactly how much. I know he's averaging 20 points a night. He makes 12.6 mil this year. I assume that's a very movable deal. It sounds like they'll probably get like a first for him in return. But if they don't, and he ends up staying on the Hornets, that could be a buyout guy, although they don't really have any need for it unless they're trying to tank, right? He is also hurt right now. Josh Richardson, another guy who the Spurs probably will be able to trade, but I know you love him. So if they keep him past the deadline, Josh Richardson, Sam, is that your top guy right
now? Who? I'm sorry.
Jay
Rich, of course. Sorry. I'm just battling the utmost lag.
Brutal. Yes, Jay Rich is what we're talking about.
As I continue to plug and unplug my router from my computer, not deciding which is worse, because they're both pretty bad, as you can probably hear.
What's pretty bad? Say that again.
This is disaster.
I can hear you. Are you still here though? Okay.
Okay.
All Sam right. With the constant internet battle. Sorry, I stopped paying attention for half a second there, so I missed what you said. And disaster. Anyways, Josh Richardson would be a phenomenal addition for the Celtics as well. Other guys, like I said, Kelly Oubre. I'm just going down the list of contracts. I know you mentioned Terrence Ross, but he seems to like it in Orlando. Like he's just content chilling there, so I don't think he'll get bought out. Excuse me. I'm just looking at mainly guys with 1 year left on their deal. Jay Crowder. I mean, at this point, if they can't trade him, you might as well buy him out because, like, what's the point? Or maybe they just keep him on the roster at the end of the season and let him go. They might just let him go at that point if they don't trade him, or as in like keep him for the rest of the season so they don't lose any money.
Sounds like Miami and Milwaukee are the teams for him.
Yeah, that's just very weird. Kind of a disaster. Danny Green, if they don't trade him in a deal, maybe you buy him out, but I don't think he's playing this year because the ACL thing. Is an ACL or Achilles? I can't remember.
Brian Windhorst just told him he was going to be traded live on TV. So
that was funny. That was elite. Dario Saric, but he's actually getting some run for the Suns. Again, I'm just looking at guys on the last year of their contracts. DeAndre Jordan, no. Kobe White, no. Jackson Hayes, no. That could be a trade guy, though. Rui Hachimura, that's a disaster now. He's talking to the media about how he wants to be somewhere where he can be appreciated. But I don't think he'd get bought out. That they're probably just going to end up trading him.
I'm sorry. If you're not getting minutes in Washington, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, he's been good.
There has to be some reason he's not playing.
They have too many guys at the position. It's kind of like a Pritchard thing. Like they have Kuzma there, they have Porzingis because Porzingis isn't playing center. Porzingis is playing the 4 now, so they're running him. They have Denny Avdia too. There's just too many bodies ahead of him. It's kind of like a Pritchard thing. It's like if the Pritchard traded Celtics. So
okay,
not exactly his fault, but he's actually playing pretty well. He's averaging, 13 points this year, 48.8% from field, around 34% from 3. So he's not a bad player to have. He's got some talent. He's still young too. He is 24 years old. Gonna turn 25 soon, but still. Outside of that, Cam Reddish is very weird. It looks like they're looking for only 2 seconds for him, so I assume he'll find a landing spot in the trade market. But if not, at this point, like the Knicks might as well buy him out, right? Because that's what a mess. That
very
is.
Strange. Very strange. Atlanta dumped him. Knicks traded for him, and then they didn't play him.
That should give you the context of he's not very good, but if the buyout market comes around, he's worth having another body. I'll put it that way. So he can't be the worst. Outside of that, though, there's really not much to look forward to in the buyout market. The Suns need Torrey Craig unless they decide to pivot into a, we're going to just be, tanking situation. I don't know if he's getting consistent run for the Suns. He's playing around 20 to 30 to 35 minutes a night. So he's a consistent piece on that team. So it doesn't seem like a buyout would be probable for Torrey Craig. Outside of that, nothing really. I mean, that's a decent buyout market at the very least, but those are the guys you're going to keep an eye on. Maybe Alex Len, if you really want a third big man. Maybe the Kings buy him out, but Boban Marjanovic, if you're really looking at it. Bobby would be fun. That'd be fun, though. No,
it wouldn't. It would be annoying. It'd be like Taco, and you'd have those idiots like saying, "Why doesn't this guy start?"
No, I think it would be more like Blake Griffin than Taco. I think it'd just kind of be like a fun
Maybe.
thing on the end of the bench. That's I don't know, maybe. However, you would have to deal with him being buddy with Tobias Harris on the Sixers, so maybe you wouldn't like that very much.
Can't have
Good
that.
point there. But yeah, the buyout market. So would your top guy be Josh Richardson if he doesn't get traded?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Proved he
Mhm.
could play with this group last year. He was really good with the Celtics. He was valuable enough for San Antonio to want him in a trade. He's been real good for just the fit. Like, just think about that. That's another guy off the bench that can shoot. And he plays defense and he plays hard. Why would you not want that? That is the perfect guy, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And him being here before mitigates the issue of him having to get his feet wet and learn and get comfortable. Like, there's going to be less of that if you add him. Like we talked about earlier with Pritchard, like he knows what it's like to be with the Celtics. When he's plugged into a game, he's able to perform well because he kind of gets it. Now, Richardson's been off the team for about a year now, and he only spent a couple months here, but he still had to have some sort of understanding how these guys played. When he was here, I thought he was a bright spot, and I thought he was really someone I wanted to have around. So,
and he was friends.
who
It seems like he was
knows?
friends with the guys too. So
Yeah.
he like has a good relationship. Although, would he be able to wear number 8? Is anybody? Am I
No,
losing my mind?
Gallinari technically has it,
Mm,
and that would bother
yes,
me.
that would. But I don't think he'll get bought out. I think he'll probably get traded somewhere. Well, you never know. I don't know. You're not hearing much on trade talks nowadays, anyway. So you never know. And if you're the Spurs at that point, maybe you just keep him and keep running. But if you really want to make a push for the Wembanyama sweepstakes, trading him would probably be your best bet because he's pretty good. He almost won you the game against the Celtics. So
Yep.
there you go. The Celtics won that game, right? I'm not losing my mind. They didn't blow
Sully's
it.
one.
Okay, good. Anyways, I don't think I have anything else. Is there anything else you wanted to do before we
Do the cards. Yeah,
I
do
got
the
them right
cards.
here. I was gonna say, all right. So for those who are new, in case we have a new
As I
listeners, we love
battled
you, we
through the
appreciate you.
lag.
Yes, there we go. We have these Who's the Man cards. My uncle gifted me for Christmas. Shout out Uncle Dan, stream legend, podcast legend now. And it's basically just trivia. It is guess the Celtics player. You get 5 clues. You get 5 points if you guess it on the first clue, 4 points on the second clue, 3, 2, 1. You get the deal. So we usually do what? You want to do 5 cards?
Yeah.
All right. The current score is Sam 105 points, Jax 4 points. We don't 64 points for me. We don't have to talk about it. But we'll run through these quickly because then I have to leave for basketball in about 30 minutes. So I want to get there on time. So first card. Who's the man for 5 points? Elected into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame and the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame in 2000. Oh, excuse me. The Hall of Fame in 1993, College Hall of Fame in 2006. So not that that's a big difference, but Hall of Famer by 93. I don't know right now, so I'm ready to go to number 4 whenever you are because I have
a guess. I'm not putting it in yet.
Okay. For 4 points, earned his second NBA championship ring as a member of the 85-86 Celtics. I'm telling you now, I'm not going to get it, so I'm going to breeze through these clues.
You should get it. This one isn't that bad. I honestly tried to line it up in my head, and I kind of got who it was. The first one, but
I'm telling you now, I will not get it. Had his jersey number 32 retired by the UCLA Bruins and the Portland Trailblazers. I do know it, but the name is just not coming to me. Like I know once I see it, I'm going to be very angry because I know who this is. But 2-time most outstanding player at the NCAA Final Four, pair of national championships with UCLA. Like I said, I know who this is. 2001 inaugural inductee into the Grateful Dead Hall of Fame. I know who this is, but I don't. Bill Walton. Yeah, I absolutely should have
had it.
that one.
I thought of it at the first one, wasn't positive. I was just like, and I kind of knew this through my Jeopardy building, actually, because I was like, oh, he won back-to-back college titles. Probably makes sense for him to be in the College Hall of Fame.
We need to we'll iron out that Jeopardy board. We'll do that soon. I'm excited for Jeopardy. Jeopardy will be fun. January 30th. Be there for the live stream for Jeopardy. All right, second card. Second card is Sam battles through his Wi-Fi issues for 5 points. Born in Melbourne, Australia, and attended Montclair Kimberley Academy and St. Patrick High School in New Jersey. I'm gonna guess off rip because I really just want my points. So don't look at the private chat, Sam, because I'm gonna drop my guess in here. Are you good if I drop in the private chat? I don't want you to cheat.
I know who it is. I think we have the same guess.
Who is it?
We're gonna guess Baines.
Oh, I was gonna guess Kyrie. Ooh,
no, you're right.
Let's see. It is Kyrie. I get 5 points. Jack's gonna.
Jack
gonna
knows
come
his
back.
rats.
Okay. Well, I guess it wasn't the best one for me to be celebrating, but I will.
I
will
forgot that he
happily,
was born in Australia.
I will happily take my 5 points, and I'll give you the credit because it could very well have been Baines too, and I would have been screwed. But I will take my 5 points. I am now only 40 points back of Sam. It's like
Chris
that
Paul hits a
celebration.
huge three to cut the lead to 42.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
All right, last card of the night. We're only gonna do 3, just to help Sam's Wi-Fi chill out. For 5 points, co-captain of the Ohio State Buckeyes team that won the national championship in 1960. All right, here are your points, Sam. You can get them right back because I don't know. I got
I have
nothing.
no idea.
4 points. Selected 3rd overall in the 1961 NBA draft by the Cincinnati Royals, but chose to play instead for the Cleveland Pipers of the American Basketball League. Don't know. No clue. 3 points. Signed with the Celtics in 1963 after the ABL folded and the St. Louis Hawks cut him after acquiring his rights. No idea. 2 points. All right. Won 5 championships in 7 seasons he spent as a member of the Celtics. Shall we go to 1 point?
1 point.
1 point. 6'3" point guard known for his gritty defense and for leading the league in free throw shooting during 2 different seasons.
I have no idea.
I don't know. It is Larry Siegfried. There you go. Old Larry Siegfried is the last card of the day.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. Not the best last card. We got 2 in there. For those listening and know how terrible I am at the cards, we'll take the victory and the fact that I was able to pick up a win over Sam on a single card, and we savor those. This is like the Patrick Beverly meme after they win the play. He's throwing his jersey into the ground. That's me right now. But anyways, I think that'll do it. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
No, we got to wrap it up quick because I'm going to lag out. So
Thank you. Sub to the
thank
YouTube.
you.
That's my one plug. I'll let Sam go now.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching it on YouTube, make sure you sub, like, share, subscribe, do all of it. How About Them Celtics? Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, at How About Them C's. Facebook is just the name of the pod. You can follow Jack at Jack Simone NBA for all his work. You can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA. And use promo code HBTC on SeatGeek, $20 off. Do it. Bye.